Hi everyone, it's Monica and today I'm going to be filming my January TBR. I am definitely a mood reader, so this is either going to be a very good idea or a terrible idea, but I'm planning on changing things up a little bit in my reading habits this year. So my plan is to plan out and actually film a TBR video every single month of the year. Let's see how that's gonna go. There's actually a couple of reasons as to why I decided to make TBRs for myself this year, but I'll explain them as I show you the books that I'm going to be reading this month. So let's get into those. A quick disclaimer before starting, but normally when I get into books, I don't know anything or next to nothing about a book, so you're not gonna get a lot of synopsis in this video, so I apologize for that, but yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to be splitting this video into categories, and the first one is book clubs. I recently joined a book club called the Spooky 101. It's basically a book club in which we read spooky things or mystery thrillers and stuff like that, and it's basically just me, Elise, Bia, Natasha, Johanna and Philippa. I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to be leaving all of their links down below so you guys can check them out. And the book that we chose for this month is A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is the first time that I'm going to be reading anything by the author, so I never read any Sherlock Holmes books. This is going to be my first, so I'm excited. I'm a little bit scared because they were on sale, so I bought 3 of these. And the other book club that I'm in is a monthly trip to Maine book club in which we read a Stephen King book a month. This is my first month joining. I think it's going to be so much fun. There's a lot of us there, so I couldn't possibly tell you like how many of us there are in there. Like 30 people I think, or something like that. But we basically read what Natasha tells us to read. No, I'm just kidding. But Natasha is the big Stephen King fan, so I'm really excited about picking up the books that she recommends, and the book that was chosen for January is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, of course, by Stephen King. I know really nothing about this book. I've never heard of this book before. I think I saw a cover with a baseball glove on it, and that's as far as I know. This edition was actually a Christmas gift from Elise, which I'm very happy and I really love it. So yeah, I'm very excited about starting this up with this book because next month is going to hurt. Stay tuned. The next category is buddy reads. Now, at the beginning of the year, I think it was in the first days of the year, we had a Zoom call, like a bunch of us, to decide which books we wanted to buddy read together, and things got crazy. So many people end up joining us and we have so many books that we can read together, and it's getting a little bit crazy. But nevertheless, I'm very excited about some of the books, and for January I only have the one, which is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. The TV show is coming out, I think, in April, so we want to read the trilogy before that, so we're going to be reading Shadow and Bone, which is the first book this month, and we're going to be reading the next 2 books in the next months to be ready for the show, I think. And after this series, we are also going to be reading Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and I'm very excited to read those. The main reason why I want to read this is because I want to read Six of Crows, so I'm glad I'm finally getting to it, because this has been on my shelf gathering dust for a while now. The next category is the Buzzword Challenge. In case you don't know, Books and Lala, which is probably my favorite content creator in general and booktuber, created a challenge in which for every month of the year you have a buzzword and you need to pick up some books with that buzzword to read. I think her challenge is to read as many books with that word on the title in the beginning of the month, in the first week of the month, but I'm going to change things up a little bit. So I'm going to extend this challenge for the entirety of the month. So I'm going to be reading as many books as I can with that buzzword in the title throughout the whole month. The thing is, the word for January is dream, and I don't have a single book on my physical TBR with that word, and my main goal is to tackle my TBR, so I am definitely not going to pick other things up just because it has that buzzword. So unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm going to have to skip this month. And the final category is books that I'm reading just because I want to. This is very important because, like I mentioned, I'm a mood reader, and having set books on my TBR for the entirety of the year that were not exactly my choice is definitely not going to work, so I have to have some space to read something that I feel like reading. This month, the first book that I have in this category is Heidi by Johanna Spyri. I already read this because I'm filming this on the 11th of January, which is a little bit late, sorry. But yes, I already read this, so I can actually tell you the synopsis for a change. This is about an orphan little girl that goes to live with her grandfather up in the mountains in Switzerland. And eventually her aunt goes there to bring Heidi to Frankfurt, which she isn't exactly crazy about. That's basically the synopsis of the book. And yeah, I read it, I liked it, moving on. Next up, I'm going to be reading Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. I read Harry Potter for the first time in 2016-2017 in Portuguese. That's what basically made me fall in love with reading. So I decided to reread the books in English this time. And this was in 2018. And I'm still not done with it. What the hell? This is the 7th book and I have read the 6th book 11 months ago. It's just getting on my nerves to have this one to read, so I really want to finish this one this month. I've already started it. I am on chapter 5 and I am dead already inside, so not fun times, not fun times. I'm actually glad I picked Heidi up before this because I needed something to bring me happiness before this, because this is just so... if you know, you know. Next up, I want to read The Tales of Beedle the Bard, the illustrated edition. This book was gifted to me by my brother like 2 years ago or something on my birthday, and I still haven't read it because I wanted to read it after I read Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, because in case you don't know, this book is talked about in that book. So that's why. And I'm very excited about this because I think this is going to be very cute. I read Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them and it was okay. I actually enjoyed it because I read the illustrated edition. And I read Quidditch Through the Ages and it wasn't exactly my thing. I found it so incredibly dull and boring, but hopefully I'll like this one. This was the one that I was most excited to read, so yes, this is next up on my list. The next book that I want to read is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. No, I'm not going to be reading this chunk of a book in January. This is actually a bind-up of all of the books in the Chronicles of Narnia series. I read the first book, which was The Magician's Nephew, last month, and I loved it so much I basically started to cry. This story is just... it means so much to me, and right now I'm going to put this down because this is super heavy. Okay, like I was saying, I'm going to be reading the second book in the Chronicles of Narnia next because this series just means so much to me, but because I hadn't had much contact with it, it's always like on the back of my mind. But every time I watch the movies, or every time I listen to the soundtrack, or in this case read the books, it just means so much and I feel so warm inside, and I think this is probably going to be my next favorite series and my comfort reads, so I am so excited about continuing on with the series. My goal is going to be reading one book a month and hopefully I'm going to enjoy it as much as I think I will. Okay, those were actually all of the books that I wanted to read, but I actually want to read some stories of this boy right here. So this is Howard Phillips Lovecraft's short stories. It's like a bind-up of some of his short stories, and I've been reading one or two here and there, but I really want to get into it more because I hate having books on my currently reading list on Goodreads for months on end. So I really need to get to this. My goal is to read a few stories between books, so hopefully I'll be able to. Right now I'm on page 170. Let's see where I am next month. We'll check on that. So that's it. Those were all the books that I have on my January TBR. There are 7 of them, which is a lot for me, especially because Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows is very, very big. But hopefully it will be fine. I am very excited about doing all of these challenges and all of these buddy reads and book clubs. This is so much fun and hopefully I will like it and I will keep going through the entirety of the year. But that's actually it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!